Big Ten tournament round one preview Iowa, Ohio State. Your Buckeyes, your guy, Bruce Thornton, your guy, Devin Royal, your guy, Jake Diebler,
All right.
against Fran McCaffrey, potentially with his
Your
job on
guy.
the line. May I interest you that?
Your guy, Fran McCaffrey.
My program.
Your
Maybe not my
program.
guy. I want his job. Okay, listen, let's not beat around the bush, elephant in the room, whatever trope you want to use here. This could be the last time Fran McCaffrey is a head coach at Iowa. Now, he's shutting this rumor down. He's telling people after the Michigan State game last week, like, I'm staying. That's not on my mind. Tom Izzo's giving impassioned pleas that he won't leave, and Fran's his guy. I don't know what's going on. I don't think that shit is talked about as openly as it is, unless it's a very realistic possibility. We've laid out all the reasons we think Fran could be gone for a while now. If we're right, I am really intrigued by a Fran McCaffrey legacy run in this tournament.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Am I broken?
What does that mean?
The thought of it being Fran's last game doesn't make me feel anything.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm gonna have some inner dialogue during this video because it should mean something because I like Fran. I like what he's done for Iowa. And I've gone back and forth on this game before we even did this preview just because like I think there is somewhat of a last hoorah thing for Fran here, even though he's not saying it. And we saw what happened with a team like Indiana, who's like kind of gone into this mode of this is it, like win one for the Gipper type thing. Like we're going out like this, and Iowa, I think, could very much be in that mold. And if watching Ohio State basketball has taught me anything, there's so many things that point to Ohio State winning this basketball game. Iowa is terrible defensively. Ohio State should be able to get whatever they want on the offensive end. They need a win. I'm not sure where they're at in the latest bracketology or, kind of how far out of the tournament they are. I don't know. Metrics still love this team. They're 34th on KenPom, 17 and 14 overall. I just, I wonder, everything points to this being a Diebler letdown spot, an Ohio State letdown spot, a Bruce Thornton game on the line, chance to win it, clank off the side of the backboard at Gamebridge spot. And I don't know how to wrestle with that inner dialogue.
Yeah, you mean to tell me
Oh no.
that Jake Diebler has something to play for?
Yeah, he does.
And that's the spot we're interested in?
I mean, this do we not do this? I was doing the Big 12 previews with Subi. One of the main takeaways from that is does this team care to be here? Do they need this game? Like that's a major factor. And when you look at that, Ohio State needs this game way more than Iowa needs this game.
Yeah, I don't think I agree with that.
Why?
Because what happened in Iowa's last game of the regular season?
They beat Nebraska at Nebraska, right?
And Nebraska needed that one way more than Iowa needed that one,
No,
right?
no. Didn't Iowa need that to make the tournament, the Big Ten tournament?
I mean, Nebraska needed it to make the tournament. They fell out of Nebraska was in the NCAA tournament if they just win this and survive to the Big Ten tournament. They were huge favorites at home, like 10-point favorites, and they were dog walked. It wasn't even a competitive game, dog. They were
Yeah.
dog walked. The game ended with Jawan Gary crying and Iowa players consoling him.
That's why I want Ohio State, by the way.
Sure, but I just I don't know how you can watch what Iowa did at Nebraska this weekend or watch how they were up 10 on Michigan State in the first half the game before that and act like Iowa players aren't interested at this point. Like I think from the last week of the regular season, they're very clearly playing inspired. Now Michigan State got them because Trey Holloman again thought Brock Harding committed a war crime by being alive. So can you blame them? No, I don't think it's bad that they gave up a lead in the second half to Michigan State like every team in this league has. I'm really impressed with what they've done. I haven't seen many teams create separation against the Spartans the way Iowa did. And then to follow that up, they could have been kind of gut wrenched at that point. They go to Lincoln. We've been to Lincoln. Tough place to play when Lincoln feels like Lincoln needs a win. Lincoln felt like they needed a win, and Iowa just 40 minutes was the better basketball team. So, yeah, I you get where I'm going with this. I think whoever is suiting up for Iowa right now in their weird, twisted way is playing hard for Fran McCaffrey. There's rumors that Brock Harding's going to portal. Brock Harding's role has been greatly diminished down the stretch of this season. There's rumors that Owen Freeman shut it down to go to the portal. He's not playing. The guys that are playing, Peyton Sanford, this is his last run in an Iowa uniform. Josh Dix, I would assume, probably going to stay at Iowa depending on what happens here. Thelwell's a senior. Like they have landed on a rotation here that actually cares, that Fran trusts, that I just think is playing better basketball than the other guys were. It reminds me, honestly, not all that different than what has happened at Indiana, where you cut some politics out of this, and yeah, we put some less flashy names on the court, but oh shit, now we're actually trying, and we give a damn. And that is something that I think works because when you run your offense through Dix and Sanford, this is still a very dangerous offense as long as the rest of the team is engaged. So I expect Iowa's best shot here, partially because I do think this is Fran McCaffery's last run, and I think these guys are going to get up and try and extend his career for one more day. Now, the counterpoint to argue against myself here in favor of Ohio State would be that Bruce Thornton has been pretty spectacular in Big Ten tournaments in his career. You think back to his freshman year with Roddy Gale, with Chris Holtmann. Holtmann's job was on the line. They won 3 straight games to make the Big Ten tournament semi against Purdue. That was like the story of the Big Ten tournament 2 years ago. And then last year, they beat Iowa by 12 when they were on the bubble. Ohio State needed a couple wins, and they decisively beat Iowa, ended up losing by 3 to Illinois, and it punched their ticket to the NIT. But they've at least won the first game in both years that Bruce Thornton's been here. They played Illinois to the wire last year when they lost. There hasn't exactly been like an egg laid by Ohio State or Bruce Thornton in the Big Ten tournament in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I mean they need this. I know I already stated that, but they do need this basketball game. Like it needs to be a win to honestly even get themselves in the conversation. And as much as you do have the whole Iowa thing. This is, I mean, Ohio State, I'm pretty sure played Iowa earlier in the season and won by 20. Not sure if that was at Carver Hawkeye or not, but um, I don't think Iowa's going to sneak up on them by any means. And as hard as they do play, if this becomes like a who can score more off, I still think I'm taking Ohio State in that spot over what Iowa can do.
Yeah, I mean Ohio State's comfortable in those types of games, right? Their defense has really tanked out here late in the season, but the offense hasn't. The offense is still high quality. So you're right. If this is a big time, just first to 100 game, I think both teams feel confident they can win it. Looking back at that first game, this was in Columbus. Ohio State won by 17. Ohio State was up 4 at half and then just blitzed them in the second half, 27 to 11 in the first 10 minutes of the second half. In that game, Iowa had Owen Freeman and Brock Harding. Now, objectively, Iowa's a better, more talented team with Owen Freeman playing than this version. I would still argue that I kind of think they may have gotten better since certain guys have left the rotation.
What does that mean?
The Ewing theory?
The Ewing theory.
It's a little Owen Freeman Ewing theory. Yes, that is what is going on here. The other thing that happened in that game for me, Iowa shot 28% from three cart, 58% from the free throw line. How often does the Iowa offense just miss every shot they take?
Never.
And that happened against Ohio State. That's why they scored 65 points. So I don't know. If you expect Iowa to miss all their shots, of course they're going to lose this game. I would expect they have a little bit better of a performance here, but I don't know. Am I crazy for wanting Iowa here? Why talk me out of this before I do something stupid?
I don't think you're crazy for wanting Iowa here because here's why. Even if, and this might be wrong here, but here's where I'm at. Even if Ohio State's the better basketball team, I cannot trust this basketball team whatsoever. And I think I might trust this Iowa team at its current state where it's at with Fran and the team and obviously the players that lost. I think I might trust Iowa more.
Why don't you trust Ohio State? Because I completely agree. I want no part of believing in this Ohio State team.
Because every time you get to a point where you fully believe and you think this team's going to make a turn or do something, they just do the opposite.
Right.
But on the same hand, like they also are like a back against the wall team too. Like their back was against the wall last year, and they ripped off wins against Matt Painter and Coach Izzo. So like, also when their backs are against the wall, they also like will lose to Indiana and things like that. I don't know what to do with this team. They're very confusing, inconsistent, and that's the reason why I can't trust them.
I got the theory here. I got the theory. You said they're back against the wall team. You referenced that Big Ten tournament run from 2 years ago or last year whenever they lost Holman. This is the Bruce Thornton psychology. I finally figured him out. He's like been my patient for 2 years, Cart. You know this. I've disrespected him, said I don't trust him. Why? He's a good player. He's obviously a good player. Why? What is it with Bruce that I don't trust? This is what he is, and this is what his teams are. They're a back against the wall team. He's a back against the wall guy when there's nothing to play for.
Hmm.
Oh, you fired my coach? And nobody believes in us at all. We're not in the tournament picture. I got y'all. We're the worst seed in the Big Ten tournament. We're not even in the NIT right now. Let me rip off 3 straight games. Why not? There's nothing to play for. Oh, I just need to beat Illinois to make the NCAA tournament? Loss. Oh, I just need to beat Indiana the final day of the regular season to make the NCAA tournament. Loss. Blow a 10-point lead with 10 minutes left. I think that's what this is. When there's any actual game pressure, I want no part of Bruce Thornton and his team. When there's big picture, the pressure's off, whatever. We're just going to the NIT anyway. Then fine. But I think in this spot, Ohio State is still playing for an NCAA tournament bid, and it's actually Iowa who will show up and play free because one win or one loss does not determine their fate in this game. It's just trying to extend Fran's career.
I can't believe you just talked me into loving Iowa in this spot.
I love Iowa in this spot. Dimers, by the way, just shout out to those guys. They brought back daily picks for me. Appreciate them. I use them as like a KenPom analytics site. They have Iowa plus 5.5 as a 58% probability. So this is one of their favorite sides of the day. Let's get to predictions. I'll give you my spoiler. I like Iowa to win this game outright. I think you're going to see a very motivated Hawkeyes group play spoiler just like you did the final game of the regular season.
I like to hitch my eyes to this hawk, hitch my body to these wagon. Um, I don't want to be on the side that's trusting Diebler and Bruce Thornton, and that's a step for me because I have always been with them, back against the wall, as big as my back is. Um, Not anymore. I like Iowa outright in this game as well.
Wow. Feels like a game where it'll be 19-2 Ohio State by the second media timeout now that we're both on Iowa.
But Iowa will win if that's the case.
Ooh, I kind of like that too.
Yeah.